And welcome to our next phase where we're going to be referring to managing change management. And we want to be able to identify what are the key aspects, what are the steps, how do we prepare for it? Organizational change is rooted in your employees' ability to adopt new processes, new systems, and certainly the new technologies. So I'd like to ask you, go into the whiteboard. I'll give you access to the whiteboard here so that you can write down what you believe change management is. And if you recall the 5 principles that we've shared with you previously, take a few minutes and write those down. And as you write them down, I'll be recording those. Being aware, absolutely. That is absolutely fundamental. Knowledge to change, absolutely, yes. That's another area that a lot of people seem to stumble on. Reinforcement of the desired behavior. Behavior, absolutely. That is where we see that even though change may take place and processes are established, the adoption of those change processes are minimized 20, 30, maybe 45%. So we're losing optimization. We're losing a lot of skill sets that are just simply not brought to the table. So let me ask you, so would it benefit you to have a system in place that when you need it, if you're going through it, or you've already previously gone through a change initiative, and the outcomes have not been desirably favored, that this mechanism, this learning, this topic, this subject matter could help your organization? Just give me an acknowledgement in the chat, and we will take a look at the percentage of responses that feel this topic is timely and beneficial. Excellent. And we've got about 20% response. Okay, excellent. Thank you very much. So let's move along. We're going to now look at the ADKAR. I'll share my screen again. And we're going to come back to your responses that you placed in the whiteboard. And we're going to look at the 5 principles. Let's see how close you're aligned with those that we have on the whiteboard. So we talked about ADKAR, A-D-K-A-R. I gave you a hint there. If you use it as a mnemonic, A, aware of the need for change. D, desire to change, need to change. Knowledge, what knowledge will you need to be successful in your endeavors to change? Ability, is this the right time? Our assets and resources and the focus, the strategic objectives of the company are aligned for this change initiative? Or would it be heavy lifting? Reinforcement, what means do you have to reward and sustain your employees' new behavior? This is absolutely critical. So when should you use organizational change? When should you use organizational change? Again, let's go back. I'll stop sharing a moment. We'll go back to our whiteboard. And I'll ask you now I'll erase this information here. And I'll ask you again to put up your thoughts. When should you consider changing? Merger and acquisition, absolutely, that's a big one, right? Leadership change. Yes, right? A lot of cultures, a lot of behaviors are different under one leadership or even a style of leadership. Absolutely. What about yes, efficiencies of a process? Are they antiquated? Are they obsolete? Are they simply being beaten out by a new technology, a new process that you need to consider to adopt, right? What else? Yes, employees. Hell, employees, lack of care. We've seen this a lot of time. Apathetic employees, employees who don't feel they're valued, employees that don't have a chance to contribute. These are all fundamental psychological aspects of our need to contribute to the community, to the company or the work that we do. Absolutely. Let's take a look then. I'll share my screen and we'll take a look at some of the fundamentals that this area requires. When employees show a lack of concern towards the quality of their work, absolutely, with the execution of a merger and acquisition, we've seen that time and time again. As new systems are implemented and task flows change, this is critical. When the market demands efficiencies of scale, we see this from investors demanding higher rates of return or more efficiencies, and even a sensitivity, a cultural sensitivity to our environment. Change is needed when customers face a discrepancy between what is expected and what is actually happening. We've seen that quite a few times when the quality, not just with recalls of a product or a service, moreover, just the quality of a product or service being delivered in the marketplace. When there is a change in leadership, we've got that one. When research shows there is better, improved means of conducting business. We know we've seen that in the research papers, whether you read any of the major publications. When and as you implement new technologies across the enterprise that will impact all production and process life cycles, efficiency. So the people side of change, that's what we're really talking about. All of the underlying aspects of these technicals and fundamentals is that people have to execute. So why do we need change management? And there are three fundamentals. Organizational change happens one person at a time. We've seen that. And the expression, the ocean is but one pebble, one drop of water. It can send a ripple through the whole lake or the pond. Ignoring the people side of change is costly, absolutely. If people are not given the tools, support, mechanisms to be successful, we've wasted both their time, resources, capital investments. Change management increases the likelihood of success. It certainly does. You have a method. I asked you previously if having the ADKAR model helps you begin to address some of the challenges, and about 30–40% of you said yes, it would. That's absolutely crucial. So let's take a look at the actual steps. Now, before we do that, what I'd like to do is set you all into, I'm going to stop sharing a moment. I'm going to set you all into groups, work groups, breakout rooms. And I'm going to ask you to look at the three main areas that we're about to study: preparing for change, managing change, and sustaining change. I'd like to know from your own experiences what you think the ingredients are for a successful change. We'll put you into the breakout rooms, and we only have 10 people. So let's look at, let's say 3 breakout rooms, 3, and 4, and we will let the system automatically put you in. Assign, assign, and assign. And I will drop in a moment, give you about 60 seconds to take a look, and we'll open up those rooms, take a look, and you can write down on your own whiteboards, and we'll be able to pull those over and take a look at those for your responses. All right. Room 1, you're ready to go. Room 2 and 3, you are also ready to go. Giving you 60 seconds. And what we can do, just to let you know all is fair, I have a stopwatch here. Timer, here we go. We have a stopwatch here. And we're going to set that in motion. I'm going to give you just 1 minute. And you're off and running. Okay, that's that. That is great. I'll be with you in a moment. And you guys do your thing. As I mentioned, I'll stop in each room. Join room 2. Absolutely, very good. And I'll leave this room and I will go into the next room. And one last room. I'll join this one for a couple of seconds. Now, excellent. And there, the time is finished, so we'll end meeting for all leave breakout rooms. All right. Now, everyone should now be back in the main session. If you're not, just let me know, and I'll make sure I move everyone back in accordingly. This is good. Very good. Stopped. Okay. So what did you learn? Let's go over to our whiteboards and see what you managed to learn. And we have some comments here. Let's see how those align with, I'm going to stop sharing. I'm going to go back to my change management. Stop sharing the whiteboard, go back to change management, close out this. The people side of change. And we're looking at preparing for change. These in phase 1, define success, recognize the impact, establish our approach. Absolutely. Who are we trying to achieve? Who has to do their jobs differently and how? Excellent. Step 2 and step 3. Very good. So we're going to stop sharing. We're going to stop recording.